Hey guys, happy Monday. It's Joe. It's time for a Pocket with Joe. Big shout out to you guys for already jumping in here. Only 3 games on the board. Not a lot of value that I'm finding. Don't love today's games, but I still do think there's some opportunities to make some money. Hopefully you guys made some money this weekend. We had some really strong picks hit. We also saw some miss. I really actually was surprised by my Calgary Flames, how strong they came out. Jacob Markstrom deserves all of that credit, you guys. Watching him get those safe shots on goal was absolutely incredible, going over his number nicely. The Ottawa Senators coming out strong, firing away. Ben, thank you. I just got this hat this weekend, so I ran out to the mall. Thanks so much, Matt. I love a Blue Jays hat that is in green. Forest green, army green is definitely one of my favorite colors, so matches my new purse. So that's where we're going with that. Like I said, 3 games on the board today. Still some opportunities to make some money, but I'm kind of look at these games and looking more at some underdogs in a couple of these games. We're going to start with the first one. The Buffalo Sabres taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, this is a 7:30 Eastern matchup, like you kind of expected here. For the Buffalo Sabres and the Toronto Maple Leafs, Samsonov expected. I really did think Matt Murray could come out, so wait to see who we're going to see in goal in this one. Now, looking at the Buffalo Sabres, they're coming in as a large underdog here, almost a $2 underdog. We've got Toronto minus 245 on that money line. Now, the Buffalo Sabres have been struggling, to say the least. They've lost their last 4 games, but when we look at how they lost those last 4 games, they really have stayed competitive. Now, it was a hard one versus the Rangers on Saturday. They lost that one in overtime 2-1. They did get blown out on Thursday versus the Dallas Stars, but looking back in their schedule, they have been fighting in these games. I'm looking at this one to be tighter than this number, just based on Toronto's schedule as well. When we look at Toronto, they won their last 2 games. They had a really hard battle with the Edmonton Oilers. They got a nice big win in that. That was a 7-4 win over the Edmonton Oilers on Saturday. They've got the Avs on deck on Wednesday, and we saw them versus the Devils. That was a 4-3 win in their last game versus the Devils. So I'm looking at them coming into this one and playing a game that is tighter than this number. So taking the Buffalo Sabres plus 1.5. It's coming in between minus 113 and minus 115. So shop those lines. Make sure you get it at the best value. The Buffalo Sabres just so strong on the road on that puck line. They got a 21-10 on the road on that puck line. And then we look at the Leafs. And yes, they've won the 2 matchups this season. They covered the puck line in both. But when we look at the 3 games prior to that, the Buffalo Sabres did win the 3 games prior to the 2 games that the Leafs have won this season. And then they covered the puck line in the game before that, with Toronto getting the win. So a little bit of history between these 2. I do think it will be tighter. I think the Sabres need to come out with a bounce back sort of situation in this one. So give me the Buffalo Sabres plus 1.5. I don't think I'm going to sprinkle on the money line. You guys know I love sprinkling on that money line, but I do think this is a hard fought battle between those 2, and I'm just not seeing the value. I do like, though, that first period over 1.5, but it's coming in at minus 166. That is a parlay piece there for me. Now, we've got a high total of 6.5. And when I'm looking at this, it's dropped from 7 to 6.5. These 2 teams trend to the over. But when we look at Toronto, they came out versus Edmonton. They had to play a high-power offensive game. This team has strong defense. And while the Buffalo Sabres are high-powered offensively, I do think we see this one staying under the number. That first period, though, going over. I do think both teams can score in that first period. I do think we're a 1-1 style game coming into the second period here. In this game, probably I lean to the under for the full game over first period. So both teams to score in the first period is coming in at plus 142. You guys know I absolutely love that plus money. Now, looking at a goal scorer here for the Buffalo Sabres, Jeff Skinner. We saw him get the goal on Skinner for the Edmonton Oilers. So Skinner on Skinner. I know you guys heard that over on the grid. But Jeff Skinner, plus 190 to come in here and get a goal. Now, he has scored a goal in 4 of the last 5 games for the Buffalo Sabres. Now, looking at his points tonight, a little bit safer. Taking him over a half a point is minus 136. He's got a point in the last game versus Toronto Maple Leafs. I do think he either gets a goal or assist in this one. If you want to go for that plus money, hit that anytime goal. If you want to be a little bit safer, you pay a little bit of juice for the anytime point here. You got to go over half a point, so he just has to get that point at minus 136. Big shout out to each and every one of you. Let's do this. The Stars under 6. We'll get to that one in a couple of minutes. Welcome to betting on hockey. It is a lot of fun. The Stars on the money line will get there. Let's make some freaking money today, you guys. Let's talk about the next game. We're going to talk the Colorado Avalanche and the Montreal Canadiens. 7:30 Eastern for this one as well. We got the Avs coming in as large favorites, minus 275. Montreal plus 220. Jake Allen expected for them. Alexander Georgiev expected here for the Colorado Avalanche. Now, Montreal has had their struggles scoring. They're sitting 8th in the Atlantic. They've had their defensive and goaltending issues as well. This is not a solid team. Colorado rolling in here, sitting 4th in the Central. They're off the win on Saturday versus the Coyotes. They had to go to overtime versus the Coyotes on Saturday. That was a 3-2 win. This is their first game on the road of a 4-game road trip. Their schedule gets harder from here on out. They have the Maple Leafs on deck on Wednesday, who are sitting, like we just mentioned, 2nd in the Atlantic. So a stronger team in their next road game. And the last time these teams played, we saw the Avs only win this one 2-1. I do think this is another opportunity to grab Montreal plus the 1.5 on that puck line. Again, this is coming in right around that minus 15 mark as well, as the Avs are almost a $3 favorite. And I do think this line keeps moving up on the money line as more money comes in on Colorado here, because Montreal, let's face it, they've lost their last 6 games. They lost their last game versus the Devils. It was a 3-1 loss there, but they played tight games before that. They took the Rangers and the Canes to a shootout. So it's pretty phenomenal that they got the Rangers and the Canes to the shootout. They also had a 1-goal game versus the Vegas Golden Knights, the Ducks, and the Kings. So they are not getting blown out except for that game versus the Devils. It's the only game that they have not covered that puck line in their last 6 games that they've lost. So I'm looking at this one being a game where Montreal could even possibly pull off this win, as Colorado wants this win, comes in hard, but Montreal digs deep in these games. I'm going to take the Montreal Canadiens just plus 1.5. I'm not going to sprinkle the money line, but I won't be shocked if the Montreal Canadiens pull this off. We know they're one of those sneaky teams that gets the wins when no one expects it. The home team has gone 9-2 in the last 11 meetings between these two. Canadians have struggled at home, haven't been able to win their last 4, like we've said. And we look at the Avs versus the Eastern Conference. They're only 1-4 in their last 5 versus the Eastern Conference. Now, looking at a couple player props in this one, I don't want to touch this total, you guys. They trend to the under. We've seen we've seen the last 7 meetings go under the total. I'm not buying it in this one. I feel like this is a game that could go over, but I just can't get there on betting this one, the total at all. So it's Montreal plus 1.5 at minus 115. My favorite bet of this game. Now, if you're looking at some player props here, Rantanen for the anytime goal coming in at plus 108 for the Colorado Avalanche. In the last matchup between these two, he did get a goal and an assist for 2 points. So I do think coming out to get the goal tonight, his points are too highly juiced. I think we do see him get a goal. It is the Montreal Canadiens. They allow these goals to come in. And then if we're looking at the other side, I really think Nick Suzuki, while I don't like the word due, is due for an anytime goal here. We're getting him at plus 245. We know Nick Suzuki is a strong player for the Montreal Canadiens, one of their leading goal scorers. So I do think at plus 245, Nick Suzuki is a really nice opportunity to make some plus money. You're fading the Avs. Okay. That is a nice fade there. Over 1.5 goals in the first period. I do like that. I really do think that is a nice way to look at this game, looking at the Avs to come out strong in this, and then Montreal digging back. I really do think we're going to get one of those games where everyone who is riding the Colorado Avalanche on that puck line thinks it's signed, sealed, and done. And then we get the backdoor cover by the Montreal Canadiens. This is a team that keeps playing and playing and playing. They're playing for pride right now. They have no reason to win these games. This team does not like to lose. So they're giving it their all, you guys. Don't be very cautious taking the Avs on the puck line. Should they come out and cover it? Absolutely. Should they dominate this game? Absolutely. We're just at this point in the season, we're not seeing it as much. We're looking at teams pushing games to overtime. We're seeing Montreal compete in these games as well. Okay, let's look at the last game, and then I'll get to the rest of your questions here, you guys. This game, the Dallas Stars taking on the Seattle Kraken. It's a late game of the night, 10 o'clock Eastern. Now, wait for goalie matchups. Jake Ottinger in goal here for the Dallas Stars is who I trust more over Grubauer expected here for the Seattle Kraken. Now, the Dallas Stars are the better team, and they just won this matchup on Saturday. You're not seeing things. It was a 4-3 win in Seattle. They're playing again in Seattle. I think this is a game that possibly could go to overtime. We had a 4-3 game in the last one. I'm looking at taking the Dallas Stars in the first period. When we look at Dallas, this is the first leg of a back-to-back. So they just played the Seattle Kraken. They're sitting nicely first in the Central. They've got the Vancouver Canucks on deck tomorrow. Now, really interesting, they do not play well versus Vancouver. They have lost the last 7 meetings versus Vancouver. So I don't know if this is going to be a little bit of a look-ahead spot for the Dallas Stars with Vancouver on deck. I'm going to look at the Dallas Stars just that first period on that puck line at -0.5. It's coming in gorgeous plus money at plus 172. And I think that's where they get the win. And then from there, I think this one goes to OT. So for this one to go to overtime, we're getting that at plus 350. With this total sitting at 6.5, I'm kind of on the fence with this. I could see it being 2-2 going to OT. If the Dallas Stars, they not normally are an over team. They have been pushing these games to the over, really opening up offensively. It's almost like they're trying to change their style of game, trying to play or see what it's like if they play less defense, play more of an offensive game. I'm not sure if they're just changing things up to see how they can match up to the styles of other teams that they will see in the playoffs. So it might be a little bit of juggling of what they're doing. But I do think at the end of the day, this is a strong defensive team. We look at the Seattle Kraken as well. They're getting the goals on the board, but they are strong at limiting their opponents, holding them 27.7 shots on goal. So based on how these teams come out will determine if this is a 2-2 to overtime or a 3-3 to overtime. We know if it's 3-3, then this one cashes us that over. But if defenses show up tonight after just playing on Saturday in a high-scoring 4-3 game, I could see this one being 2-2. Going into OT, giving us that 3-2 and staying under that total. So I'm staying off the total. I love to go to overtime plus 350. I love the Stars here on the puck line in the first period. And then that's it, you guys. I'm not betting on anything else. I might look at Jake Ottinger. If we can get confirmation on Jake Ottinger's save shots on goal in this game, I'm really interested to see what that is. Let's see. Jake Ottinger has been confirmed. It's Jake Ottinger and Martin Jones here. So it's not Grubauer. Martin Jones in for the Seattle Kraken, which does make me like the Dallas Stars even more, especially in that first period. Now, Jake Ottinger is coming in at 27.5 at -110 to the over, -116 to the under. When we look at the Seattle Kraken, they're averaging 30.2 shots on goal per game. And the Dallas Stars are allowing that 30.9. I just want to see how many shots on goal was allowed on Saturday. So just bear with me while I pull this up because it's interesting. We know the Dallas Stars on Saturday allowed 4 goals to go in, but I'm not sure how many shots on goal that was for the Seattle Kraken and how much they really opened up and fired in that game. So that was an OT game. I won't be shocked again if this one goes to OT. Jake Ottinger saved 28 of 31 shots on goal. So this number is coming in right around the number that we're expecting here for Jake Ottinger. Now, Philip Grubauer did play in the last game, and I really do think this is a prime opportunity to fade Seattle with Martin Jones. I don't think he's as strong as we've seen out of Philip Grubauer. So with that being said, Dallas Stars in the first period, I do like even more in this game now. I think we've got a nice one here for Seattle to open up and fire away. And don't forget to hit that, smash that like button. The Dallas Stars, really interesting to take them over 3.5 in this one. They could, if they're the winners of OT, that is where this is going to go, because I really don't see this being a 4-2 style game. I do see this one being competitive still. I just worry about the Stars with Vancouver on deck, a team that they know that they have struggled to beat. So Vancouver is on deck tomorrow for this team in Vancouver. Yes, and I do think that they try to get the sweep definitely here. Yeah, they would be huge favorites if this was in Dallas. I completely agree. And I look at the Dallas Stars. You look at them on the road. They're phenomenally strong on the road. 19-8-4-1 on the road this season. 22-10 on that puck line. The Seattle Kraken 16-13-1 at home. They're only 17-16 on that puck line. They've gone 5-4-1 in their last 10 games. The Dallas Stars going 6-3-1. I'm a little worried that this line is a little bit off, to be honest with you guys. We have seen this happen where these lines don't look right. Like the Dallas Stars, like you said, -190 favorites if at home. I still think they should be -135 minimum favorite, -140 favorites in this matchup today. They're sitting first in the Central. The Kraken, third in the Pacific. And that's why I'm just going to hit that first period. Give me the first period. Give me the puck line for the Stars in the first period. Give me that beautiful plus money. Give me overtime, and let's call it a day. So Canadians, Kev, I'm completely with you. The Montreal Canadiens plus the 1.5. Abs on the puck line. Happy Monday. Let's make some freaking money today. You could see the goal. I don't know if I'm wanting to take a lot of goal scoring in that game for Montreal. I don't mind it, Joe, and I think you definitely look at him depending on what value you're getting. I found the most value on Nick Suzuki, so that's where I went with that game. Okay, those are the 3 games, you guys. So recap of those 3 games really quick here. The Buffalo Sabres, Toronto Maple Leafs. Give me the Sabres plus 1.5. At -115. Actually, there's some -113s out there, so please get that. The puck line, 21-10 on the puck line on the road this season. This team has been phenomenally strong. Now, Toronto is the better team, especially this is a battle of the Atlantic, but Toronto's sitting pretty happy where they are right now, not threatened by the Buffalo Sabres. This could be a dog that pulls off the win after struggling so bad here, upsetting Toronto off a big win over Edmonton. So Toronto is really interesting how they play. They're kind of like Calgary, where they get beat when you least expect them to get beat. Kind of another situation where no one expects the Buffalo Sabres to roll in and get the win here. When I look at what else I like in this game, that first period, over 1.5. That's what I'm going to throw into the parlay. The Leafs and the Sabres, over 1.5 in the first period, but I'm going to straight up bet both teams to score in that first period. I do think both teams get a goal in that first period. You're getting that at plus 142. You guys know my whole goal is to find you the plus money. I don't want to sit here and give you -166 unless it's being thrown into a parlay. That's not what I'm about. I'm about getting the plus money in these bets. My return on investment is what I'm concerned about. I would rather go 1-2 and have a positive return on investment than go 2-1 and just scrape by and make a tiny bit of money on those bets. So give me both teams to score in the first period at plus 142. In the parlay, we're going to throw over 1.5 at -166. Now looking at Jeff Skinner for that plus 190 for the anytime goal here on the Leafs. I love he's with the Buffalo Sabres. You can, if you want to play safe, if you want to pay that bit of juice, his points tonight over 0.5 coming in at -136. And then you're safe if he ends up getting the assist instead of the goal for the Buffalo Sabres. Now looking at the next matchup, the Colorado Avalanche and the Montreal Canadiens. I think the Canadiens plus 1.5 at minus 115 on that puck line. Definitely a solid way to go. You guys threw out the over 1.5 in that first period. I don't hate that either. I do think we see the goals coming in quick in this one, but it could be the Avs who go out quick. So be cautious with those both teams to score. I do think this is one where Montreal will fight to the very end. So Montreal, I'm going to take them plus 1.5 on the puck line for the full game at minus 115 within the parlay. I'm going to stay off of this total. Like I said, these teams trend to that under. I could see this one being a higher scoring game. Just got a gut feeling, no rhyme or reason behind it. We've got some strong trends to why these teams can go over this total, but the last 7 meetings have stayed under it. The last game, the Avs won 2-1. Now, looking at prop bets in this one, you guys threw out a couple. I really think Montreal, Nick Suzuki, he is due, even though I hate using that word, at plus 245. I'm finding the value. Rantanen coming in here for the Colorado Avalanche is plus 108 for that anytime goal. In the last matchup, he had a goal and an assist, got 2 points. So if you want to look at his points tonight, if you can find him for some good value, I couldn't find good value on him tonight. So I do like that goal at plus 108. The last game, the Dallas Stars and the Seattle Kraken. Give me the Stars in the first period. For the parlay, we'll just do Stars money line. I do like the puck line, though, for that beautiful plus money. I'm going to take them separately. The Stars on the puck line, minus 0.5 in the first period at plus 172. I'm also going to bet this one to go to overtime. Now, Jake Ottinger coming in at 75.5 save shots on goal at minus 110 to the over, minus 116 to the under. I'm hesitant in this one because we saw right on that 28 save shots on goal in the last game. So I'm going to stay off of that. I do think this line is a little fishy, you guys. With Dallas having Vancouver on deck tomorrow, I'm kind of feeling cautious about taking the Stars for the full game. So that is where I'm lying. The Stars on the puck line in the first period, the Stars on the money line in the first period as well. You're still going to get value. This game to go to overtime at plus 350, I absolutely love. Of all 3 of the games, this is the one that I do feel could go to overtime. The second one I do feel could go to overtime would be Montreal and Colorado. Knowing my luck, now I told you these two, we're going to see the Sabres and Toronto go to overtime. But you guys, these overtime bets, bet them lightly. You are getting great plus money out of them. The Rangers, though, I tell you, we've been betting the Rangers to go to OT. That has been cashing for us nonstop. So that is definitely something to look at. So that parlay, you guys, is the Leafs and the Sabres first period over 1.5. It's Montreal plus 1.5 on the puck line and the Dallas Stars on the money line. Like I said, my favorite bets of the day would be just looking at these dogs on the puck line. Even if you took, I think all 3 of these games could be really tight, took every single dog plus 1.5, parlayed them together. But I do think the Sabres plus 1.5 and the Montreal Canadiens plus 1.5 is the way to go in these 2 games. So you guys, that was Pocket. I want to thank you guys so much for being here with me. Yeah, that first period over in the Sabres game, I definitely like to, but I do think both teams score. So look at the both teams to score, get that plus money. If you just want to take that minus 166 and parlay it with something else, definitely another strong way to go. So you guys have a good one. I will be back tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern. We have a million games tomorrow. So stay tuned, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. My Cup of Joe play and I'll have a prop bet like short coming out, will be out today. I just haven't had time to film them. I've had a lot going on today. So I'm going to get those filmed up right after I just run out to grab my Starbucks. I'll film them. They'll be up. NBA picks for tonight in both the shorts. I've got a player prop and an NBA pick for you guys in my Cup of Joe play. So stay tuned for that. You guys have a good one. Keep smiling. Let's make some freaking money. You hit the reverse. You got the reverse puck line. My hat goes off to you. You took the reverse puck line on the Detroit Red Wings before the game even kicked off. Congratulations on that. Joe Ranieri and I were on Sports Grid, and oh yeah, we were watching that game. We hit the over 7.5 when it was beautiful. Like for like maybe 2 minutes, it was beautiful plus money. that drop, but we got it at plus like 170, 180 for the over 7.5 when it was slow in the second period. And then we also got the puck line for the Detroit Red Wings when we were in that third period thinking, well, if that's going to hit, this is going to hit. Joe Ranieri came up with that one. So congratulations to you for hitting that before. Definitely a good day. Starbucks drink for a cup of Joe. Yeah, I need my Starbucks, you guys. I like run on it. They should sponsor me. I don't know what is going on. You almost hit the Senators, almost hit the Senators. I know the Senators, I could not believe how strong Markstrom came out. That was all because of Markstrom. Wasn't the Senators. Markstrom actually playing with confidence now out there on the ice, making these saves he needs to. I don't think it's because he's had his child. I think maybe there was a stressful, situation with his wife being pregnant, just too much to handle. He has turned a switch. Maybe it's because now he's playing for a kid. I don't know. Markstrom playing with his whole heart out on that ice. We have seen him turn things around. So really good to see. But you guys have a good one. I will be starting an MLB show. Just note on that. Give me ideas for the name. I was going to call it Hit It with Joe. Swing It with Joe. I don't like Swing It with Joe. Hit It with Joe. Let me know what you guys think. It will be very much this style, except we're going to limit it to 4 to 6 games a day. So stay tuned for that. Let me know what you think of names. I want you guys to vote on what I should call the MLB show coming here. So you guys have a good one. I will talk to you later. I'm going to go get my Starbucks, and I'll see you soon for the Cup of Joe. Bye, guys.